Two.
Hi, guys, and welcome back to Bar Exam, where we go ahead and examine all the things that happened in the news cycle, and we decide together whether some people are guilty and if some people are innocent. Okay. Now, we have a lot of hosts here today. Well, actually, we're missing one, but we're going to tell you guys who's here right now. I'm Allie, and I have the rest of the Bar Exam crew. I've got Shane G in the building and Eric G. What's up, fellas?
How we doing?
Yo, what's good? What's good?
What's up, guys? And then we're waiting on Mr. Marcus. He's going to pop in a second. Okay. So don't worry. We're going to have the whole team here. But let's go ahead and dive into our first topic. So you already know we're going to talk about like the hard hitting news that happened this week. I'm sure that you guys saw a lot of stuff popping up in your news cycle, like the shooting in Minnesota with the ICE agent and that innocent woman. We're going to definitely talk about that. But you know what? Shane has something special for us to talk about today. And actually, it's a mystery to all of the other hosts because he hasn't shown us what it is. So let's find out together. Okay, Shane, what do you got for us this week?
All right, so I just want to say, first of all, shout out to black people. You know what I mean? I love us, and we are some of the funniest people on the planet for sure. So, um, you know us, we don't really take things serious, even if they are serious things. You know what I'm saying? We can make anything funny. So this is just a random thread that I came across. You know what I'm saying? Y'all follow me, Shane underscore ethos, you know what I mean? Follow us at ethos media network. Um, so this is from Janelle Colleen. Shout out to her. She said, my mom dying 6 months after my dad really pissed me off. Like, girl, be original.
I can't.
Somebody else said, my grandma died the morning after election night 2024. I'm like, Miss, girl, you're just going to leave us here to deal with the tangerine by ourselves? Just selfish.
That's
Girl, my
wild.
daddy passed away the day he was headed to buy my car. So you couldn't buy my car first? It's giving, I ain't want to do it for real so bad. My mom died on Mother's Day weekend. Like, if you ain't want to go to brunch, that's all you had to say.
Oh my goodness.
Mad
My
original.
daughter passed away on Labor Day. Girl, that meant to rest, not rest in peace.
Oh, I can't. Yo, why are black people so funny? And why are we able to make humor out of the craziest, saddest situations? Like, what? That sounds so heartbreaking, but the way that they make it sound, it's so much
Just the way they make
lighthearted.
it sound.
My
Yeah.
dad passed away on Easter and did not rise on the third day. The fucking nerve.
No, I'm not kidding. There's some people in my family that are like such Bible thumpers and they're such Jesus freaks. And I'm like, no, we got to keep an eye on your ass. Like, if you're going to rise back up, you know what I mean?
I got like
Make
two
sure
more
we
and then we
bolt
can move
the
on to
shit.
serious shit. I got like two more. My mom died on Father's Day. Just say you hate that man, petty.
That
And
is kind
then
of petty.
my dad died on Father's Day. Like, damn, you could have just said you ain't want the macaroni art.
That's wild. That
My
is so
grandpa
wild.
died on us Thanksgiving morning in the house. Like, sir, the turkey ain't even hit the oven yet.
Oh my God. That's correct. Yo, that's
Dude, that turkey wasn't gonna
that's
be good.
he was like, I already know
He knew it was
your
gonna
work
be
from
dry.
last year. He was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and check on
There's
that.
thousands of those on this thread. Just thousands of examples of black people
Bruh.
being hilariously in the acceptance stage of grief. That's what that looks like. You know what I'm saying? When you can joke on your deceased family members and you can joke on people who are, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
for example, there's a dude from Detroit, you know what I'm saying? His name is Hex Murder. Shout out OG Hex, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, a manager and just like a figure in the hip hop scene, you know what I mean? And then he had a stroke. He's been in a wheelchair ever since. But like me and Hex have a relationship where I can joke with him about that. So like I can say things to him on Twitter, you know what I'm saying? Like shout out to Hex Murder. He's always been a stand-up nigga.
I
And
can't.
then he'll just be like, man, fuck you, Shane. You know what I'm saying? But
That's
like, don't you
wild.
say that to him though. You know what I'm saying? Unless that's your
Right.
man's too. Like, you know what I'm saying? You better not say that shit to him. Like, cause that's one of the OGs from where I'm from. You know what I'm
That's
saying? Like,
that's a rule. Like I can't lie, in the Black community, for sure, that's a rule. Like I can crack on my folks, but you better not. But I also think that like it kind of like crosses cultural lines and like racial lines too, because like you can only there's certain things that you can only say about like your siblings, right? Like that's how it is with my family. We can crack on each other when it comes to the siblings, but you better not fucking say none of that shit about my sibling. Like nobody else who's not blood related. So I
facts.
think that it's definitely a
Hmm.
cultural thing, but I think it could be like a familial thing.
Well, definitely, because that's what a lot of the white people who were responding in the threads comments were saying. They were just like, this is so funny and this is so cool to see, like, because you never see this from like my people, basically. Like,
Mm,
like there's not really that unless it's like dark humor and it's like labeled that way. You know what I'm saying? Like a
true.
Anthony
Yeah.
Jeselnik or like certain comedians who like purposely go after that. Like
Hmm.
to us, that's just humor. That's just regular being funny. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like,
We don't even put a dark label in front of it.
yeah, yeah. It's because we're dark. So, you know what I'm saying? That's what that is. So,
It comes with the territory. Yeah, that's hilarious. No, but also, can we give like a little shout out to Threads? Because I get that everybody was so in love with Twitter and now it's X, and it's kind of like, honestly, it's just full of like Nazi
it's a
propaganda, if
cesspool.
we're going to be honest. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's just a cesspool of bullshit over there. But everyone, well, not everyone, a good amount of people are moving over to Threads. I gotta say, I'm having a good time on Threads. All right. I love that I don't see no bullshit on, like no Nazi shit on there and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
But I love the conversations that are brought up in the debates. But I will tell you, the only threads that I can't stand are like the AI ones where people are like,
Oh, and it's so
posting.
obvious.
It's so obvious,
That's
but
a that's an Instagram problem in general, though. That's not even just a Threads thing,
you got a good
because
point,
that's
Eric.
where a lot of those like bot responses that you see on like a lot of those just any Instagram thing that has a lot of comments under it, especially something that has like a lot of traction. That's where you'll see that just repeated same comment of like symbols or like emojis or whatever the fuck. Like it's not even shit that is very coherent a lot of times.
That's so true. But you know what also is really wild though about threads? Like I feel like at least with Instagram, they haven't really found the best way of like making it personal. Like at least it's in the comment section in a way. But I swear to you, on threads, it's like because it's just there's no images for real, for real. Like, yes, you can add your media or whatever, but it's more so like this like free flowing conversation. I feel like there's been so much more, like there's been so many more bots answering me back. So like I will be, like I'll make I'll post something, my thoughts or whatever, for my opinions. And then I swear to you, like bots answer back to me and like we're having a back and forth. Whereas like usually in the comment sections of Instagram, you're right. It's like emojis. It doesn't make as much sense. But on threads, they're like getting better and better and better. So please be careful. I'm sure on Twitter it's very rampant, right? Or X, whatever the hell they want to call it now. But threads, I'm starting to see that more and more. And it's kind of scary.
Are you familiar with the dead internet theory?
No, what is that?
So the dead internet theory is basically what you're talking about, and it is happening in real time, but it's basically where, machines are communicating with each other more than humans are communicating with each other on the internet, and it's going to get to a point where the machines, aka now we know what it is, it's AI, um it's going to get to the point where the AI is so good where anything that you see on the internet is going to be indistinguishable from real life versus, and we're seeing that, right? With Sora,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
obviously, there's still certain things that kind of give it away. It's like, okay, this is clearly AI, one, because we know DMX and Tupac and Big Pun are dead. So we know that. But like, if you didn't know that, there's still little tiny giveaways that kind of let you know, okay, this is fake. But eventually that's going to get better because I don't know
Hmm.
if you remember the original Will Smith AI video of him eating the spaghetti that looked crazy as shit. And it was just
Yeah.
like, remember that?
And it got
They
better
did
and better.
another
They
one
showed.
like the year after that, and it looked like Will Smith
Mhm.
eating spaghetti. Like, and it was
Yeah,
like, oh,
way more
okay.
closer to
And
Will
it was like
Smith.
1 year later. Right. It was
The
damn near on point.
advancements, yes, are insane. And what's also, I think another thing that the way that we can actually try and stop this stuff, or at least better inform the public on what is real and what is not, honestly, our governments, not just in the US, but all across the world, need to be putting in place these policies and procedures that force all of these platforms to expose and brand that these are AI videos. We should not, as regular consumers of media or whatever, have to try and sit there and dissect and do all this extra work to determine what is real and what is not. Like, it should not be that big of a blend. You know what I mean? Like, there should be labels that clearly say AI and not give you even the choice. Like, the system itself should be able to detect that this video is not real footage, and instead label it when you're uploading that this is AI. Because you're right, it is getting worse and worse. My dad is like sending me, y'all already know, that's how you know that shit like it's really
Right.
that's how you know, because like your parents are gonna start sending you these crazy ass videos like, can you believe it? And it's like, Dad, no, because it's not real.
No,
I
we don't
love you
believe it.
so
That's not
No,
much.
that's
real.
not real.
But like, the man's hair didn't change length a few times. I mean, if you look at his fingers, it goes from 3 fingers to 4 fingers to like stuff like that. But it's like, that's ridiculous. The fact that we have to do that much detective work, but also, like you were saying, they're advancing so fast. We should not have to worry about that stuff. But and think about all the horrible things that they are going to create with these images. I mean, I know that people don't want to be labeled doing crimes, right? You don't want to be accused of doing a crime that you were not a part of whatsoever. That's a major thing. But also, you do not want to allow people who have taboo kinks to be able to make their own images and make their own videos on these said things. Like, so for example,
Hmm.
there are some people out there that are that are PDF files. Okay. If you
Hmm.
know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Okay.
Yep.
We should not be able to have engines like these AI systems that can create videos for their weird kinks. You know what I mean? That should not be allowed at all. But I don't think that there's anything in place that's stopping those things. So yes, there are people out there who are like afraid, like, okay, we're going to be accused of crimes and saying things that we didn't do, which is very, very alarming. But there's also situations where people are creating images that are also crossing different types of lines,
Hmm.
that normally you would not be able to have to be even able to own these images, let alone create them. So
I mean,
I
and
think
even
that people
beyond
don't
that,
think about that.
even beyond that, like playing into how human psychology works, we are creatures of we're like, for the lack of a better term, we're like herd animals, right? Like we have to function in groups. And part of that is groupthink. Now, I think a lot of us do our best to combat that and try to, have our own thoughts and our own, judgments on things. But at the end of the day, we're all still just humans, and that's just sort of part of human nature. So what happens is narratives get created online that aren't even necessarily real narratives being created by humans. You know what I'm saying? It's different if the cultural conversation is heading in one direction or another because, we all feel a certain way or we're all experiencing something and then we start talking about it and it, pushes movements, but that's grassroots shit. But now, if you have 1,000 AI bots, because they just came out with some reporting saying that like a lot of these overt MAGA and Trumpers and stuff like that, especially black ones, are not Americans. They're bots that are being hosted in Nigeria and all these overseas places. You know what I'm saying? Like they're looking up the IPs of a lot of these the IP addresses of a lot of these, accounts, and they're finding out they're not even from here. So but what that does is, I'm not looking up people's IP addresses. I see a profile picture of a black Trumper. So what that does is it creates a false narrative that there's all these black people or all these Hispanics or
Hmm.
whatever that, right now, I'm not saying didn't vote for him, but I'm saying right now are still pro everything that he's doing. And it's like, that's not necessarily true. A lot of this shit could be fake. Another study just came out saying like 51% of all internet activity now is bot driven. So that's the dead
Wow.
internet theory right there. When you know what I'm saying? Because it's more than half now at this point. So that
Right.
more than half of all content that we consume is like a lot of those faceless videos on YouTube and stuff like that. Some of them are real people's voices. A lot of them aren't. A lot of them are
Oh my
AI.
God. So many of them are so fake. And I mean, and that's not, there's so many platforms and you're 1,000% right. Yes. And I mean, even when you are shopping nowadays, like, cause I'm in like the TikTok shop world and
Hmm.
I feel so terrible for customers who fall for these AI videos. Cause I'm like, this video is not showing you the actual product, how it actually works. It is just like slapping together a bunch of stuff that they think that you would like to know. You know what I mean? That you would entice you to buy it. But when you get it, it doesn't look the same, doesn't work the same, but you're SOL. So you're right. It's so scary. We are truly in the age of misinformation, and it's only going to get worse from here. But that's why we have to put pressure on our government, on our politicians to pass these laws, because that's the other thing that we have to also consider. If we don't, it'll run rampant. It'll just get worse and worse. But also think about how many businesses are making money out of it. So there'll be a point where we can't reverse it because there's so much money, there's so much effort being put into it that even though there might be politicians that agree with you, they want to be able to make their cutbacks. They want to be able to get the backdoor deal, paper bag money that they've been getting. So there'll be a point where they are basically bought too. They've been bought out. So yes, we need to put pressure right now because it's only getting worse from here. It's truly scary, honestly.
And I guess my question for both of y'all would be, how do we do that and trust that our government will do the right thing when this is the same government that currently is deploying a masked Gestapo into the street, and they're killing people, in broad daylight, shooting at women through windows, killing, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna get into that in a minute. But
Spreading
like
all
that's the
types of
same government.
misinformation.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. You're 1,000% right. I have my answer, but Eric, what do you think? What do you think is the solution?
I mean, when it comes to AI, I do think that there is a point where it can almost get to a point where it's almost like an iRobot situation. I hate to bring up Hollywood in this scenario, but that's the closest thing I know. When you get to a point where technology gets to the point where it's outrunning humanity and they can't control it, they ultimately want to get to a point where they are the ones that still have the ultimate control over said technology. So I do think that they will have a lot of regulations in place to try to make AI a lot more secure even than what it is at the current state right now. Because I mean, we've already kind of seen the problems that Elon Musk had with AI just in the past year. So I do think the regulations are going to come in place because they still want to be able to have full um regulations and control over it without it spreading too quickly without them having enough knowledge about what information is actually being put into these systems.
But do you think that they would regulate how AI can be, like, do you think they would regulate it for businesses, like how they're allowed to use it? Or do you just think that they would regulate how powerful it can get so that they can maintain control?
The latter option.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's what we're scared of, basically, is like they're gonna just let companies do whatever they want with it still. And that's the problem.
I still
And it
think even
is.
with the companies, I still think they'll try to put regulations on them too, only because it's money driven, but at the end of the day, it's still technology driven. You know what I'm saying? So they don't want the companies to get too out of control with it either, I don't think.
I mean,
Hopefully. Because I mean, we're built
that's
off of
wishful
capitalism,
thinking, I
though.
think.
Yeah.
Like I think that's yeah, I don't think that's how our government operates. I think that's how they should operate.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what they should do. I don't think that they
Yeah,
will.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't think that
Yeah.
they will, but that is what they should do.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
got you. Okay, well, my take on it is that like kind of similar to Eric. I think that they should do better regulation. They should make sure that they're passing policies that force these platforms to put a label on anything and everything AI. Also, they should be doing better vetting of what like of bots. You shouldn't be able to have all these different accounts where they're all just generated by AI. That is ridiculous. But there's another thing though. I think that we also need to make sure that we're keeping an eye on our politicians. We need to remind them that a lot of the moves that they make are very public, right? And can also be, are being documented. So there's a history of their past behaviors and also their deal billings and dabblings when it comes into like the market. Okay. So I'm saying like we can try and sit and hope that our politicians are going to do the right thing. But we all know that when money and power come into play, it's very hard to do the right thing if that means that you get less money and you get less power. So I do want us to all be mindful that we can call out our politicians on the bullshit moves that they make because they're just trying to line their pockets and they're not actually trying to take care of our interests. They're not trying to be mindful of what is going to help the average American. So these are the sites that
Exactly.
I want you guys to look into in case you ever feel as though your politicians might be making some shady moves to line their pockets. Remind them that they can be looked up on Quiver Quantitative.com. They can be looked up on Capital Trades. They can be looked up on Open Secrets and US House of Representatives, the official site, because that will show you guys the different types of trades that they do in the stock market, but it'll also tell you guys what they have been voting on. And you can start to correlate, you can start to connect the dots and put together
Open
the
Secrets is one of
pattern.
my favorite websites. Like I love that site. I use that site when not even though right now I did this video probably 2 years ago, but right now, shout out to Rokana because he's doing a lot of good work. At the time I did the video, though, I was calling him out, based on a vote that it looks like based on what I found on Open Secrets, he changed his vote based on, some financial influences. Um, I'm not gonna bring all that extra stuff up right now, like I said, but it's just an example of like how good that website is. I love that website. So what were the other ones that you dropped again? I want to make sure to put links, in the comment section so that way people can check them out.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got you. The other ones are Quiver Quantitative, Capital Trades, and if you want to like then cross-reference the
Hmm.
information that you learned there with what your representatives are actually voting, then you go to the official government sites, the U.S. House of Representatives, and all that kind of stuff, so that you can connect those dots.
Yep.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Right? It's always good to be informed, and just make sure that you guys really know, because a lot of times that's what I really feel as though true journalism is missing nowadays. There's just so much like clickbaity shit. And like, also, if you work for like a big news organization, then they also don't want you to like rock the boat too much. So if you do too much digging, then like you're going to piss everybody off. If you tell the truth too much, if you put these people to the fire too much, then you might make someone mad. Like, man, fuck that shit. So I truly do think that like we should be informing ourselves, we should be learning about these things, we should be getting into it, whether they're going to tell us or not. But like, unfortunately, nowadays we kind of have to look into it ourselves because journalism was supposed to do that for us, but they're all being bought out. and let's not even talk about like the amount of people that like pay for cover shots and articles and all types of stuff. So, let alone the people who just get a kickback on it is what I mean. So truly, like, honestly, I wish our journalists would actually do this type of stuff for you, so you guys wouldn't have to go to these websites and look all this stuff up. But that's just the day and age that we're in. So inform yourself, like, better educate yourself, and don't just listen to whatever the journalists are telling you, because a lot of times their boss is being called up by politicians and people who, businesses, to be like, hey, crush that story or at least dampen it. Okay, don't put everything out there, and or it just never hits, it never sees the day of light. Okay, so, or the light of day, I mean. Anywho, but you guys see what I'm saying. Like, just make sure that you are, unfortunately, we have to do this. Make sure that you are double checking your sources, and even the sources of people that you respect as a journalist, because they can be bought out at any time. And even if you don't have a journalist that you are, that you follow religiously, even if it's a big organization, the Washington Post, CNN, whoever the hell, Fox News, whoever the hell you say is your favorite, you should still double check and cross reference. That's the beauty of truly having access to so many different sources. You don't need to just take one perspective. It actually doesn't make sense for you to do that, because everyone has their own agenda. So make sure that if you really are going to be passionate about something, or start to go and support something, that you do the full research and look at other perspectives, not just one. Okay, because this journalism game is just not the way it used to be. Now, anywho, let's talk about what Shane was referencing to earlier, because there's a lot that's going on right now, but this one was major. This hit major headlines across the country. And I think that, a lot of people are mainly just afraid of this not being a one-time occurrence, that this is going to all the other headlines that we've seen regarding an ICE agents. So let me back up a little bit and explain to you what I'm talking about. So I'm talking about the shooting that happened in Minneapolis, where there was an ICE agent who shot a woman. And what's interesting to a lot of people is that she was actually not an illegal immigrant or an alien. She was also not, I don't believe that she was being detained whatsoever. Allegedly, she was just leaving the scene, and she had
She
been
lives on
warning
that
people.
street.
Yeah,
She was
she
down
was
the
in
street
the
from her
area.
house.
Exactly. So it doesn't exactly make sense as to why she was shot. So let's go through the entire story. So on January 7th, 2026, in South Minneapolis, Minnesota, Renee Nicole Good, who was 37 years old, she was a U.S. citizen. She was a mother of three, and she was described as a really kind, compassionate person. She was shot by Jonathan Ross, a 43-year-old ICE officer. And he's actually been in law enforcement and in the military for a total of about 20 years. So before he became an ICE agent, he was also in Border Patrol, and he was also in Special Response Team training. So he has plenty of experience. Now, what happened was there were multiple ICE agents that were in this area that were operating as an enforcement team to go through and start doing these ICE raids, these ICE sweeps. Now, Renee's car, her vehicle, was in the middle of the street. Apparently, she was not the only car that was in the street, though. So the ICE agents are coming through the community. And so Renee and a few other people were supposedly going around and warning the community that the ICE agents were in the area. Now, I'm not 1,000% sure if that's super accurate. I'll do a little bit more research to be certain, but from what the reports are coming through, that from people that were talking to, like, her neighbors, her like community, they were saying that she supposedly was trying to warn people in the area, and she was a part of a team of people that were trying to do this. And so she was definitely an ally. So anyway, so apparently, she's on this street. She's letting all these other cars go by because the ICE agents are telling them, you have to get out of this area. You are impeding with our search. You need to leave. So she lets these other 2 to 3 cars go past her. Then she goes to pull out and drive down the street. And that's when it gets very complicated. So supposedly what happened was Good and Jonathan Ross had this interaction, as well as other officers there, in which that like she was trying to drive away, but they were saying that she was like in the way or something. And so 2 of the officers, one of them being Jonathan Ross, stepped in front of her vehicle. He was way more in front of it though. And she was trying to either reverse or drive away. But supposedly, from other witnesses that were there, she was not trying to actually run anyone over or attack anyone. And as she's driving away, Jonathan actually steps forward closer towards her car, draws his weapon, and shoots her, and unfortunately kills her. And after that, it also gets worse because it doesn't seem as though they were in a rush to get her medical help. So we still need to find out if she could have possibly been helped and been saved, but it is just not looking good. It is like ripping up their community for sure, but it's also affecting a lot of communities across the nation. So that's basically what happened. Officials after that from the Trump administration decided to call the incident self-defense, saying that Jonathan Ross was defending himself against Good, that Good tried to use her car as a weapon and even referred to her as a domestic terrorist, or what she was doing as domestic terrorism. Like, think about that, guys. She was a white woman. She was a mother. She was a part of her community. She did not have any weapons on her. And yet she is being labeled as a domestic terrorist, which is truly shocking, especially when there is footage and not just one angle, but a lot of angles, a lot of footage. So that's the basic rundown. And there's been some protesters, there's been some unrest. And I don't know if it's going to get better from here because it sounds like the Trump administration is doubling down on their stance, especially Vice President Vance, who echoed that characterization of her. So what do you guys think? What do you think, fellas? What did you
So,
hear about it?
just summary of it. I feel like this was bound to happen after we've seen countless videos of ICE agents um being extremely aggressive with people of the Latino community, and to some instances people who are just of a super lighter fair skin in that community. We've just seen it all throughout the country. And I feel like it was only a matter of time before something deadly like this happened. Unfortunately, I don't think it's the last. I think that things like this are going to continue to happen. And the other unfortunate part is that I don't really know if any of these ICE agents will come into justice for it unless one of them does something just blatantly like a blatant murder on camera or something like that. And even then they still might try to figure out a way to spin it.
I mean,
So,
that's what this was to me. Like if you look at it, because they put out multiple camera angles.
yeah.
So from his body cam footage, you can see her turning the wheel to turn away from him.
Yeah.
And then she moves forward and he moves in the way of her moving vehicle. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can see this very clearly in his body cam footage that got put out.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't his body cam footage, then he was holding a cell phone himself and put in the footage got put out somehow. But it was obviously from his perspective because when he got hit. The fuzzer phone actually, because he dropped the phone when he got hit. So it was definitely he was holding a phone.
Yeah.
So he's holding a phone and his gun. So she turns
Wow.
off. He shoots her. She's dead right then off the first bullet. You know what I'm saying? And then shoots two more times from her side. At that point, like I don't know any law enforcement that's allowed to do that.
Right.
You're not allowed to shoot at a fleeing suspect. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not
Right.
part of the you have to go catch them. You're not allowed to shoot at a fleeing suspect. You know what I'm saying? Whether they're on foot or in a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Right. They're
saying?
trying to remake
Like
the rules altogether. They're trying to make it seem as though, yeah, like, oh, because she was running away. That does not mean that you can shoot someone. That actually
it's
doesn't
this
mean that at all. It means
at
that
all.
if
It's
any
the same
you
thing with like the drug boats from what they say is Venezuela, but it's
Right.
really Trinidad and all these other places. Oh well, they're bringing drugs. Well, guess what? Death is not the sentence for being a drug dealer.
hello. And
It's
then where's
not.
the
Yeah.
evidence? You
Never has
blew it
been.
all the fuck up. You do know that there are procedures, right? Like you are actually supposed to arrest somebody and then bring the evidence forward to a trial, to a jury. Yeah. So exactly.
Yeah, so that they can have due process.
And according to the
Exactly.
Guardian,
This is an execution. That's really what
according
it
to the
was.
Guardian, 32 people were killed by ICE last year.
Wow.
So we're hearing about this right now, but no, there have been over 30 deaths at the hands
And
of
we
ICE
still don't
custody.
understand the regulations for ICE agents. They can wear these masks. It doesn't
That's
sound
why they
like
wear the mask because what they're doing is illegal.
it is. A
Yep.
lot of them
That's
don't
that
have
like, and they know what they're doing is
their
illegal.
name on there. And like you were saying about the body camera, from what I think that you're right. I think that from what the reports are saying, he didn't even have a body cam on. So the footage that you saw more than likely was from him holding a camera, or it was someone from behind him or something. But that's insane. If you're
And the
running
woman
these
was getting mixed
giant
messages.
scale,
Like I remember a similar story happened out here in Mesa, Arizona, actually at a hotel where there were now these were just cops, but I mean, low key they might have been ICE agents. Maybe they just weren't being they were
how do
being
you know?
called cops because this was some years ago now. But this happened and it was a story that went kind of viral because it was so they showed up at this hotel because this guy, I guess he was like hanging out the window with fake guns. He didn't have real guns. He had like fake guns, or maybe he had real guns and they were unloaded. It was something like that. But whatever it was, the police got called, and so they show up to the hotel. They get the guy out of the hotel room. He's on his hands and knees. You know what I'm saying? And they're giving him mixed messages. One officer's telling him, lay down on your stomach. The other officer's like, stay on your knees, stay upright. Then one officer's like, put your hands on the ground. The other one's like, put your hands up. And he's trying to do everything at once. And one of them shot him and killed him. This was a similar situation where one cop was walking from the side telling her to get the fuck out of the car.
Oh,
Another cop was standing there yelling at what I believe was her wife. So that's another element that we could add into this mix. Also, I'm pretty sure she was a gay woman. So there's that also. I don't know that to be 100% fact, but I did hear that. And right before I'm not going to call him an officer, right before that goon shot her in the face, the woman who was standing on the side of her car tried to get in the car. And then she started saying, babe, go, go. So this is all in the video too. So I'm pretty sure that was either her wife or girlfriend. So there's an element of that too, because we know ICE, they flat out said things like liberals have ruined this country. That's been caught on camera. So, this is Trump's regime. So it's like this is some right-wing shit. They probably don't like gay people, so that's a strike against her. If she's, trying to help out the Hispanic community saying, hey, ICE is out here, don't be outside, that's a strike against her. So I can see why I can see where it came from. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's not just like, oh, they killed a white woman. It's like, nah, they definitely killed they didn't view her as just a white woman.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like they viewed her as
yeah.
the other still. They were able to do that. And that's why he shot her in the face and then shot two more times from the side. You know what I'm saying? Like there was no regard for human life there. And then all of a sudden you hear everybody screaming and crying because it's like, damn, our neighbors got murdered in front of us. The woman lived on the street. That's the other thing that no, like she lived on the street that she got murdered on. She was on her way home or on her way to the store or wherever the fuck she was going. She lived on that block.
Yeah, that's crazy.
She wasn't an invader or no shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah.
that's the shit that people have to reckon with. It's like, are you okay with that? Like, because your side did it or whatever the fuck. Like, because this is the shit
Right.
that is, it's gonna be this type of shit, and then the other thing that we're gonna cover next that really leads to how civil wars and shit like that start.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, 1,000%.
combinations of these factors. And like I said, we're going to touch on the other thing in a little bit, but this shit right here is also part of it
Yeah.
because nominally everybody on the left is on the same side. Like, yes, there's homophobia in the black community still, but nominally we all kind of vote the same way. Like most black people, most gay people, most Hispanics, you know what I'm saying? Despite, you know, the election anomaly last time, usually most Hispanics, you know what I'm saying? We're all kind of nominally on the left. There's, you know, different flavors of leftism, you know, you know what I mean, from moderates to being like a socialist or whatever, but we're all nominally on this side. So if it goes down, we're all nominally going to be on this side. You know what I'm saying? So that's how shit like that starts. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then, you know, like I said, with the other topic that we get into, that's the other way that it starts. And I think I see a lot of different things happening all at the same time, and it's very interesting.
It is. And another thing that I think we also need to be talking to our politicians about is how is it that we have ICE running under like almost no regulations, no procedures, especially in certain areas. Like if you don't even know the community, you don't know the policies, the laws of that community, and how are you just coming in and you're able to just start arresting people left and right? Like, so for
That's what
example,
makes it easier, though. That's
but
actually what makes it easier. I think that's very intentional. You know what I'm saying?
a
Because it's like if
thousand
I know this
percent, but
person and that's my,
that should
if I
not
look
be
at him like my
allowed.
nephew,
But
it's
my thing
like,
is
damn,
though
I'm
is
not gonna want to arrest this nigga.
Right.
Like, but if I look
but
at you like the other, I can run up in a high school and fuck up shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they've
oh,
been
I,
doing.
I get that. However, just like with police precincts,
Hmm.
you actually have an area that you're allowed to actually patrol in. You can't have somebody from East
I see
Los
what you're saying. You're talking
Angeles
about jurisdiction
now.
wise. Like, okay, my
Thank
fault.
you, jurisdiction wise. No, that's the thing for me is that there needs to be a type of jurisdiction. Like you just can't come into these people's community. And the other thing that's crazy is that like when you talk to the politicians, like when they were speaking to the governor, he was not pleased about this. He was not
Oh, he
like
wasn't fucking
working with
around.
ICE
I
on this.
loved his response.
Yeah, and let's talk about it. So,
He said,
governor
"Get the
of
fuck out of my state. We don't fuck with
yeah,
y'all." I like that. He was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
that's
go ahead,
funny.
give him the real
exactly.
quote. I know you got it."
Exactly. So the Minneapolis governor, Tim Walz, talked to protesters. He wanted them to remain peaceful. And he wanted them to allow for them to have like an actual federal investigation on what happened. He brought in the FBI to lead the investigation. But he also implored the Trump administration to quote, leave our state alone. And he's that end quote. And he's not the only politician from that area to also make that statement. I want to say there was one other, I got to double check and be certain. There
I think it
was
was the mayor. I think that's who I'm referencing. Was the mayor because he was cussing them niggas out like
Oh,
he was
really? Well,
tripping.
there's also another politician. I want to say it was a senator from Minnesota was also like, leave us alone. Like she's like, I wish the Trump administration would just leave us alone. She's like, I don't know what the obsession is in Minnesota for this administration. She's like, but they just won't let us breathe. They won't let us be able to actually govern our people peacefully. So, they're also fed up with him as well. So, and I think that that's not, that's not the only state, the only politicians that feel that way, but a lot of them
I
that
feel like it's a lot of
are.
those Midwest states too.
It
Like
was
it's not just Minnesota.
But I think that
it was their
Republicans
mayor.
are afraid to say something.
It was the mayor of Minneapolis. He said, "Quote: Get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create safety, and you're doing exactly the opposite. That's the mayor. So shout
Wow.
out to him. His name is Jacob Frey or Jacob Fry.
He said it perfectly.
Shout out to
You,
him.
you
That's
talk
what's
about safety, you talk about trying to, protect the interests of the American people. That's
And,
not what you're doing
and
at
really,
all.
for
You're
all you
putting them in
niggas,
harm's way. You're killing
for all
them.
you niggas who are happy about what Trump's doing in Venezuela, I just want to touch on this very, very quickly. For one, shout out to my man JB Font. You know what I'm saying? I wish you health. You know what I mean? And I hope everything is going good for you, sir. Can't wait to have you back on the show. One point that he brought up during one of our interviews is the way that the U.S. government treats other places is the same way they're going to treat the citizens here. So I want everyone to keep that in mind with this whole Venezuela war shit going on, and look at the way ICE is treating people who live here. I'm not going to just say citizens because they say they're going after, undocumented immigrants or whatever, but it's not just undocumented immigrants, it's documented immigrants, it's legal immigrants, it's just immigrants,
Citizens,
especially if you're
it's
brown. That's all it
second
is.
yeah,
So,
generation
especially if you're brown.
Americans. I mean,
you know
third,
what I'm
I
saying?
mean,
So it's like, oh, now we're
people
attacking
who have
Venezuela.
paperwork.
Yes, they're rich in minerals and all of this type of shit, but they're also a brown country. So it makes it easier to do. I need you guys to make the correlation. So that's number one. Number two, for all you niggas who think this is a good idea, just so last 40 years, I'm just going to go over real quick, bullet point style, all of our fuck ups and what it's caused, right? 1986, Libya, terrorist blowback, the bombing in 1986 failed to deter Libyan terror support. Instead, Libya allegedly sponsored violent reprisals, notably the 1986 Pan Am Flight 73 hijacking, in which 20 people were killed, and the December 1988 Lockerbie bombing, in which 270 people were killed. So those were terrorist acts that were caused as a direct response to our bombing. Gaddafi also used the dissent to rally support, and he crushed internal dissent. So that all happened because of us. 1989 in Panama, we violated human rights. We broke the Geneva Convention limits. We were condemned internationally. Panama's trust in democracy was shaken, and they assaulted the precedent for U.S. disregard of the Latin American sovereignty. So, that was all fucked up down there. The Gulf War, 1991. In the war's aftermath, Shiite and Kurdish rebellions were brutally suppressed. Reports indicate 6,000 Shia and 2,000 Kurds were killed in reprisals, and overcrowded refugee camps saw 20,000, mostly children, die from disease and exposure. Um, what else happened? The stationing of Western troops in Saudi Arabia, home to Islam's holiest sites after the war, fueled Islamist anger. Osama bin Laden cited the Gulf deployment as a grievance, helping to recruit for Al Qaeda. 1993, Somalia. I'm just gonna here. Let me go for the hits. 1998, Afghanistan. The U.S. strikes failed to kill Osama bin Laden and became a rallying cry. The Taliban leader, Mullah Omar, angrily vowed that Afghanistan will never hand over bin Laden in return. We know about the 2000s, you know what I mean? We kill Saddam Hussein. Obviously, that creates a power vacuum in which ISIS is able to become a thing, ISIS wasn't there before Saddam died. Libya, we now have open slave markets after taking out their leader. You know what I mean? They're just straight up selling human beings. You know what I'm saying? So this is the results of whenever the U.S. intervenes anywhere. So I just want everyone to think about that. And then all of you same people who are pro-Venezuelan invasion are also anti-immigration. Where the fuck do you think all those Venezuelan people are going to go when we start bombing the fuck out of their country? They're going to come here. They're going to come right here.
But people are
And
seeing these
then what?
videos where they're all celebrating and they're like, "Oh, they must be so happy." And it's like, go back to the list that Shane just gave you, because when those leaders that were first they're dictators in those areas were taken away, they were, we had a hand in that. Yeah, there was, people in the streets celebrating. They're so excited, but they didn't realize the ramifications, the full ramifications of those actions. But they found out later, and that's why you have so much anti-American sentiment in those countries now, and you have all the problems that Shane just said. So that's the thing. I think that we all, we see these videos, and we're like, oh, they must be happy because
And
they're
then,
not
like you
as
said,
informed
they
either.
all end up coming here,
Then they're all
and
going to come here.
and then
And
the
guess what? We
cycle is
have
going
this
to
whole
repeat
war.
itself.
Exactly. We have this whole war on immigrants, but we're over here making it harder for them to live in the countries that they are already supposed to be in. So, yeah,
And here's
just
the whole
absolutely
problem.
ridiculous.
Of course, it's all over oil. Everybody knows that. But the misconception is that that's somehow going to benefit citizens. Unless you're a CEO at Citgo or in upper management at Citgo or, BP or one of these fucking oil companies or whatever, that shit isn't going to benefit you at all. It's not going to make gas
Yes.
cheaper because they have more of it. They're going to keep it at the same price because we've been paying this shit for years. So they know, like, all right, well, fuck, why would we lower it now? That doesn't make
Or it's
sense.
just going to go up.
It
Exactly.
wouldn't go up necessarily because we're going to have more of it, but they're not going to make it cheaper like everybody's saying.
Yeah.
So that's, what I'm
No.
saying? That's stupid.
But that's how
And
you
you're
know
not going to
that this is
personally
bullshit.
benefit.
And that's how you know it's bullshit though, because it's like in what reality do you go and liberate a whole country because the dictator is so horrible, but then you also bring in all these big corporate giants to also come in and feed off the resources? How do you make that make sense to say that you're helping the people, but we're also going to steal their natural resources and give them pennies on the
Yeah.
dollar for it, and we weren't able to get in there before? So it's
And they're
pretty.
trying to
I
make it
hope
seem
that
like
it's
it's like
clear.
a,
Jobs, like you're
yeah.
not helping out that country at all.
Yeah. Like they're trying to make
No,
it like it's like military strategy to position ourselves against Russia and China. And it's like, well, the thing that you're not
to
saying,
steal
it's like
oil.
China and Russia didn't go in there and invade and take over Venezuelan oil fields and shit. They cut deals with them. They pay them for their natural resources. And guess what? Venezuela nationalized those natural resources. So right now, their citizens do actually make money off of the oil. All of the oil that gets
Wow.
sold to Russia and China, the citizens of Venezuela get a check for that. You know
Wow.
what I'm
And
saying? Or maybe
now
it's paid,
they're
in the
not.
form of taxes, or I don't know how they do it. But I know that there is legitimately a benefit to the actual people of Venezuela for that money that Russia, China, India, I believe, other various countries are paying Venezuela. So that's the thing. I'm like, if we want to compete and we believe in capitalism and all this shit, right? Then why wouldn't we just make an offer to Venezuela financially? We have the money. We know we got the money. Like,
Right.
so just pay them for their resources like we would want people to do for us. Why go in there and take over? Because it's a brown country. That's the other part. Again, like, you know what I'm saying? They're not doing this
Yeah.
to, like,
Yeah.
they're talking about, no, which I will say. So, you know, that kind of, that's a white place, and they're talking about taking over up there too. So, I
Say
guess,
it again. I think you cut out a little
but
bit. Where did you say?
Greenland.
Greenland.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to understand what we need Greenland for. I'm like, please explain to
It's the
me
same
what
thing. It's
resources
natural
we need.
resources.
Do they got oil? Like, I'm trying to understand. All I know is
Well,
that they got a
so
whole lot
here,
of
I'll
ice,
look that up real quick.
as in like their temperatures are freezing cold. I didn't mean as in like the agency. So I'm just trying to understand like
Yes.
what are we tapping from them? I'm sure, like you said, there's going to be some type of resource, but I'm trying to connect the dots because I couldn't figure it out. But it's
I want to say
also
it's resource
wild.
rich, and then it's also like, because so the
The
idea, and
locations.
this gets slightly conspiratorial, but I don't even think it's that conspiratorial really. But um, if you know anything about Elon Musk's family, they believed in sort of the old school way that things were, as far as like geographic power structures and things like that. It was like, all right, Russia, y'all are the biggest country, y'all are the most powerful country in your region. We not gonna fuck with nothing y'all got going on. y'all don't fuck with nothing we got going on. If you want to take over Europe and rule Europe and do whatever, we're not going to say shit. China, same with y'all. If y'all want to do whatever the fuck y'all want to do to whoever's around y'all, none of our business. We're going to leave it alone. But also leave us the fuck alone over here in America because we're going to be doing that same shit over here. So that's sort of the idea. And in order to basically create a giant United States, which would include South America, Canada, and Greenland, you know what I'm saying? Because they're right by Canada, we would have to run all of that basically. So
Oh,
that's
that's wild.
Cuba. That's why he's been talking about Cuba also, same shit. You know what I'm saying? All of that is in um what's it called? In Venezuela. It's like all the
Yeah.
same reasons basically, but just up there. So yeah, it's just a strategic power grab. And then I just want to remind everybody also one more time, if you look at all of human history, the whole shit, the whole time we've been doing our human thing, you know what I'm saying? Anytime there's been an empire that tried to expand too much, it always collapses every single time without fail. So what you're seeing is the start of that. If we keep going down this path, we are going to collapse. We're not going to beat history. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? That's
I think
it.
you're 1,000% right. Yeah, you're 1,000% right. And right before we cut out, I was going to say something similar to that in terms of like, look at the territories, look at the U.S. territories that we have. One of the best examples is Puerto Rico. Look at how we treat Puerto Rico. Look at the
Yeah.
resources that we give, or actually look at the lack of resources that we give Puerto
Yeah,
Rico.
very little.
Look at, yeah, look at the difference. Like, you could you could be in Florida and then go to Puerto Rico in the same day. And it is night and day because of the resources that we give Florida as opposed to Puerto Rico, because Puerto Rico is technically a territory. I mean, we saw it not too long ago when the hurricane came through and Trump is over here tossing out paper towels like that's going to do shit to people, do shit for people who just have their entire house flooded. Okay. So, yeah, like Shane said, the more that we expand does not mean that the stronger that we get and the more people that we're going to take care of and the bigger our community is going to become. No, if anything, we're going to actually cause more people to struggle if we don't have the right infrastructure to actually take care of them, especially if we just want to steal their resources. So be
And it's
mindful
like, do
of
y'all
that.
niggas want to travel? Like, do y'all want to go places and not be hated by everybody? Like, come on, fam. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I talk to people on a regular basis, you know what I'm saying, who live in other countries, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, shout out to Bex. She lives in New Zealand. And she's always like, I'm so worried about y'all over there. Like, it's so fucked up, like, what y'all's president is doing. And, like, you know what I'm saying? Because the world gets the news not from a Republican perspective or a Democrat perspective. They just get the news. Like, this is what this nigga did today. Y'all make your own judgment over how you feel about it. This is what Trump did
Yeah.
today. Right? Like, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? That's what they do. And they just see the fucked up shit. And they're like, oh no, this is horrible. Like, so they literally say that to us like on a semi-regular basis. Like I get friends from the UK and like I said, New Zealand, Australia, and they're like, man, shit is like we wish y'all could just come here. Like it's just I'm sorry. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
And
it's really bad like that. And it's like, do y'all want people looking at us like that?
Right. I mean, I would hope not, but we'll see. Now, this is just one example of what's going on, when it comes to the race tensions that have been happening, the tension between races in our country. So, that's one angle of it, but there's also other things brewing right now. And so, we should talk about it. There's a lot of tension going on. And more specifically, what we've probably been starting to notice are a lot of streamers who are pretty young are starting to put their own ideologies and their opinions onto these younger generations. And it's really, really scary when they're prejudiced, when they're racist, when they have these ideologies that are divisive. So the person that I'm specifically speaking about is Aidin Ross. He is one of the most popular streamers right now, but he's also one of the most divisive out there. And he is doing it with what seems to be on purpose. So this started, so Shane actually brought this conversation up to us. He brought this topic up and was talking about how Aidin Ross went on this whole tyrant against Doechii, who is a Black rapper, American rapper, and she's a female. So it was pretty unexpected because it didn't seem like they ran in the same circles, or maybe, we didn't really see a correlation there. But he decided to go off on her, what seems to be because of like this old footage from when she was at like about to go to like this award show. And remember that whole incident, guys, when she was like asking people to get her umbrellas because she didn't want
Yep.
any of the paparazzi to see her outfit. It had to be this big reveal. For
Mhm.
some reason, I don't know why so many people got upset about that, because they really were sitting there like, oh, she's talking dirty to her team, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I didn't see not one team member complain. Nobody came out to the news. Nobody said nothing. Also, if they're her team members or they're part of her team, more than likely they getting paid a pretty check. Okay. So I don't know. I didn't hear of anybody from her actual team complaining, but everybody else had an opinion, including Aidin Ross. So
Mhm.
Shane, how about you inform the people on what Aidin had to say about Doechii in that moment?
Well, so the problem is he didn't even address that right away. That wasn't even initially what he said. Like somebody brought up Doechii and he starts going off, oh, that bitch. Don't even get me started on that bitch. She's so untalented and she's an industry plant and all of this, right? So he just went on this weird diatribe about her. And so then so then shout out, the person who kicked all of this off, Glasses Malone. I've been a fan of his for a long time, actually, you know what I'm saying? Because he was one of the first artists out of the West Coast that Game actually was putting on mixtapes in his early days, you know what I'm saying? So I've been aware of Glasses Malone since like '06, '07, so shout out to him. He was basically like, no, we're not going to stand for that because first of all, you're a Trumper, so you're already like, we're looking at you a little bit sideways, as like the black and brown communities. So that's number one. Number two, there's been footage and video of you, telling other white streamers who have said the N word, oh no, like don't let people say that you can't say that. As long as you're not being racist about it, it's cool. And it's like, who are you to make that rule, bro? You're a white kid. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. So Glasses basically was checking him, you know what I'm saying? And so then he comes out and he doubles down. Now, Allie, what do you hear when you hear somebody say, oh, that fucking unintelligent, smelly whore, that fucking fat bitch? Well, no, she's not fat, I guess. But now, when somebody's using that language, what are they trying to say without saying it? In black men,
To
what are you hearing?
me, to me, it's coming off as that like you are trying to belittle her based off of something besides the facts of like her personality or her career or something. It sounds like you're trying to make fun of or try to belittle her for maybe her appearance, maybe her skin tone. Like, and honestly, I wouldn't put it against Aidin Ross because he's also had run-ins or he's had incidents where he comes off as somebody who is anti-Semitic or
He's
a
Jewish.
or is that is that right? Because it's interesting that this is not the only time that he's been in the media recently because
He likes
of
to fall on that when
prejudicial
people call him out
views.
for being white. Like when people are
But
like,
I
"Yo,
don't
you're a
understand.
white dude." Like, don't. He'll be like, "I'm Jewish," and then it's like, "Oh, you're doing that thing." Okay.
Can we also, yeah,
So
exactly? Can we
Aiden Ross
also?
also just calling him like a Nazi symbol dance on live stream.
That's what
So
I
he
was
got him
gonna
in a lot of
say.
hot water for that.
And that's why people were like, well, is he anti-Semitic or not? Because why would you teach somebody uh anti-Semitic gesture. So it's giving like, are you pro-Nazi? Are you racist? And either way, whether he truly believes it or not, it's the fact that he knows that his base gets riled up over it. He
Hmm.
knows that he's rage baiting them. He's inciting them to continue pushing these narratives and these viewpoints. He's giving them a community to do it in. And
Hmm.
it's whether he believes in it or not, does not matter. He's profiting from it and he's continuing to encourage it to grow. So, in my opinion, he's a piece of fucking shit, but he's not the only one that we should be paying attention to. But he definitely is somebody that we should uh, realize that that's the blueprint. That's going to continue to be the blueprint. That not all of these, but a lot of these live streamers who have been doing it for a while, running out of content, running out of shit to say, they're going to start falling on this easy rage bait shit because it gets the people
Yeah.
going. It gets some
And I do
clicks and
think that's
views.
part of it for sure. It's just because it's easy to get people to view your shit when you're rage bait. And I
Yeah.
definitely think that's a big piece of it. But at the same time, I think so like everything that he was saying, right? Like to me, it all came off very racist because he's using all of the stereotypes about black people. And the key thing that he said to me that kind of gave the game away was when he called her fat. Because
No way.
Doechii is
Yeah.
quite
What?
obviously not fat, and he
Yeah.
immediately took it back. So what that signaled to me is, oh, you're just relying on all of the stereotypes and you're just rattling them off. You called her
Hmm.
unintelligent. You said she smelled bad. You
But he's probably
now
never
and
even been
then
in the
now you're
same
calling her
room as
fat.
her.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now
Like,
you're
have you
calling her
even seen
fat.
an image of this person when you say
That's
these
the
things? Like, what
thing.
the fuck are you
That's the
talking about?
thing. She's a glass of water, and her, I bet she smells like cocoa butter. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Hello, shea butter too.
you
Shit.
feel
All of
me?
that.
So it's like you were just rattling off all of the like negative black stereotypes that just came to the top of your head. You
You're
you
right.
said everything except black. You know what I'm saying? And that's why he said this fat bitch. Well, no, she's not fat, but it's like, oh, okay, yeah, you can't use that one, but that's one of the so the whole thing came off incredibly racist to me. And so the strategy that G Malone implemented, which I absolutely love, was we know we can't get to you because you're rich and you roll around with like all of the security on Earth and police escorts and all of that. Cool. We're going to go at all the black people around you that make you feel comfortable enough to talk like this. And when they started feeling the pressure, and then all of a sudden, and this shows the power that black people can actually have when we're really on one accord, which is
Hmm.
something I want to touch on because I feel like this goes back to that Civil War conversation. I'm seeing a lot of unity in black circles too. Like we're seeing it on, with certain white supremacists being more bold and you know what I'm saying, the racists coming out and awakening. I'm seeing a lot of black people who are coming together and speaking out and being like, no, we need to be on some unity shit and other people joining up. So that's why, again, I want to shout out Glasses Malone, you know what I'm saying? And he was having all the Crips again running up on these dudes, you know what I'm saying? Or not necessarily running up on them, but basically making it uncomfortable for all the black people in Aidin Circle. Like, because we know we can't get to you, but we're gonna get your friends then. You know what I'm saying? And I hope my Damus was on the same page, you know what I'm saying? Because like we need this is some black shit right now. Like we gotta put the other shit aside. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so you had that going on, and then you have guys, you know what I'm saying, who are actively fighting the narratives, the negative narratives, particularly against black women. Guys like Antonio Talks, you know what I'm saying. He's a young nigga too. He's only like 24. You know what I'm saying. There's a guy named Young Don. I think he's like 30. You know what I'm saying. Another young dude who's very pro-black in his message and is actively using statistics and numbers and things like that to dispel a lot of these myths about black people. You know what I'm saying? Like us being thugs, for example. Less than 400,000 of us are in prison in any given year. So less than that is violent crimes. And there's 45 million of us in the country. There's less than 1% of us are in prison. How are all of us thugs and criminals and all this shit? So he does a lot of good work like that. There's another guy, Jew Almighty. You know what I'm saying? He pushes back against anti-black woman narratives. So there's a coalition of people on the internet who are getting a lot of views, who are gaining a lot of traction, and they're preaching positive messages about the black community, about how black men and black women need each other, how we're not each other's enemies, and how we need to get on code. You know what I'm saying? And a great example of that is what happened with Aiden Ross because his views started dropping. He started losing followers. You know what I'm saying? The same way that we treated that raccoon Nicki Minaj, you know what I'm saying, is the same shit that we did to Aiden Ross. And that's how we need to be able to hold people accountable.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. You stop supporting them. The second you
Yeah.
stop supporting them, they instantly see it and they know what that's going to translate to. Oh, that's less fans. That's less money. That's how you hold people accountable. We spoke and he changed his tune real fucking quick because
Yeah.
NBA players and shit started backing off him and saying, "Hey, I was gonna do your stream, but can't do
Fuck
it now."
you.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
And also, and I agree. I totally believe that as a black community that we do need to stand together, but I also want to remind our other counterparts out there that might not be black, that might be a completely different race, that you also can be a part of this as well. So, for example, I was really shocked about this. Dave Portnoy, he is actually the owner of Barstool Sports. He
Yep.
actually ripped Aiden apart for that Puka Nakua thing, where he was just saying that, like how dare you do something like that, so let me see, he actually had a series of tweets. Let me see if I can find a few of them, but he is white, and honestly I was not expecting him out of all people to say something, because his whole organization Barstool Sports is built off of like some pretty bold opinions, some wild takes, some stuff from left field that that you normally don't see in the media
Mm-hmm.
space. They're not necessarily like the most professional, you know what I mean? So I wasn't
Right.
expecting that he would say something, but let's see. He said that um so no, that was Nakua. That's what Nakua had to say. Let me find out what Dave actually put up.
Why are you
Um
bringing that up though, Eric?
okay.
Didn't
I was gonna bring it up.
you know who else surprised me? Logan Paul.
Yeah, I was gonna bring him up. Yeah. I think Logan Paul had Aiden Ross and somebody else on the show, and they started either talking about what he got in trouble for or something along those lines, and they started laughing about it, and Logan and his co-host kicked them both off immediately.
Like this shit ain't funny over here. So it's like, and I didn't expect that from a Logan Paul. You
I
know what
didn't
I'm
either.
saying? So it's like
Oh
that's kind of dope.
yeah. I heard that too, which was, yeah, you're right. I wasn't expecting it at all from him, because his brother's also been accused of some interesting behavior, like, so they're
Shit, both of
Yeah,
them
both of
have.
them
Like he's
have.
been accused of scamming. Like it seems like he's a trumper. So it's like he's got. So that's why it's surprising, kind of. It's like because he fits in that mold of everybody who operates like that. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. All right, so this is what Dave Portnoy had to say. He said, I thought the way he set up, and when he says he's talking about Aiden Ross, he said the way he set up Puka Nakua by telling him to do that dance was a total a-hole move by him. And this is what he told the Daily Mail. He said, anybody with a brain knew that would cause a controversy. For what? So Aiden could get a couple clicks. And what's crazy is that this man makes his money from a couple clicks too. But he
Hmm.
also understands that there is a line. And I feel terrible for Puka. I also feel terrible for Doechii, because they don't deserve any of this type of shit from some fucking random peon fucking. I get it. We get it. We're in the age of the streamers. I also live stream. We're obviously podcasters. But let's be fucking honest. Aiden Ross does not have any real talent, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, we can all yap to the fucking internet if we want to, but does that mean that you should be out here pushing these type of narratives and also ruining someone else's career because you want to get some fucking views? No, it doesn't. It shouldn't mean that, and we shouldn't be okay with that. So I applaud Dave for once, because I'm not always the
I
biggest
mean,
fan of Dave.
and to be fair, like, I don't know, how much of that is his ideas or whatever. He might just be a guy who has like a platform and he's like, I will allow whoever to say their opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because there's going to be times, obviously on Ethos Media Network where hosts say things that I, as the producer, don't agree with, but I'm not gonna not let them say it. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So
no,
it's like,
it's not his organization. Aiden does his own thing altogether. But yeah, you're right. I'm sure, like, if his other hosts
well, no,
had
I'm
said
saying like
that,
because you were saying as far as Dave Portnoy, like how Barstool got built off of some controversial opinions and stuff, and I'm
mm-hmm,
saying
mm-hmm,
maybe he doesn't share those opinions. He's just like, I'm gonna let people have those opinions on my show. You know what I'm saying? Because at the same time, another thing that they do is because obviously I'm a battle rap fan. They have a series hosted by this guy named Roan, who and it's compliment battles where the two guys or two girls or guy and girl they do it in battle rap style still, like where they're saying it aggressively at each other, but they're saying really nice things about each other though. Like
that's kind of cool.
so it's like, you know what I mean? Like Barstool's kind of all over the place, like with their content. So that's why I'm like, I'll kind of, that seems like that's his real thoughts. You know what I'm saying? And the other shit is media. So it's like I can rock
Yeah,
with that.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
1,000%. But I think moral of the story is we need to hold these people accountable. We need to hold whoever the fuck thinks
And
that
it
they can
show
just say
and we
whatever
can
they
do
want
it.
to be divisive accountable. Yeah,
And we can
yeah.
do it. Like we've seen other groups, you know what I'm saying? Like where and we say it, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody kind of just has this understanding. Like if you say something about certain groups, you know what I'm saying? Like we all know who I'm talking about, and I'm not even saying it right now. Like you know what I'm saying? Like because like and that kind of is right there. That proves the point. You know what I'm saying? Like I won't even
Hmm.
say it. Y'all know who I'm talking about, and but we kind of know like if you say something fucked up about this group, you know, or LGBT is another example of this. Like I can say
Hmm.
that one. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
where
yeah.
if you say something fucked up about the LGBT community, like publicly and you have a name is kind of is bad for you after that, right? So now we're just now seeing for the first time probably at least in a long time, in my memory, where somebody of a different culture spoke against one of ours and we held him accountable and it worked. Like he
Yeah.
hasn't apologized all the way yet, but a lot of them black people that was fucking with him then backed off. And you got to think everything that they do is somewhat black coded. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
how is he popular? It's because he has black rappers and black streamers and shit like that he collabs with on all the
Yeah.
time.
I mean,
So
he's
if we get rid
on
of all of
Drake's
his
teeth.
black kudos, then what has he got? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
I wouldn't know who Aiden Ross is if it wasn't for Kai Cenat, and I'm not even the biggest Kai Cenat. Like, I don't even watch him all the time like that, but I still wouldn't know
Hmm.
who he was without him. So
this is what
there
I'm
you go.
saying. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? So it's like, do you want to make it hard for Kai now? You know what I mean? Do you want to make it hard for you see what I'm saying? It's like,
For
Yeah.
actual speed,
yeah, like people niggas fuck with speed, but if
right?
he's fucking with you, now we not fucking with him no
Then
more. Do you want to make
hands
it hard for
off.
your boys?
Exactly. And if anything for them, they like, do I want to make it harder for myself? I mean, they might start distancing
Right.
themselves and they should. They should, because you shouldn't be friends with somebody like that, period, in real life or online just for clicks.
This is when gatekeeping is not a problem. This is an
Yep.
example of when you should gatekeep. You
Yeah,
should
a
gatekeep the
thousand percent.
culture from people like
Blackball that
Aiden
motherfucker.
Ross, from Andrew Schultz, from you know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of these niggas who it's like we need to do a
Hmm.
better job gatekeeping. You know what I'm saying? We can't let all
Yeah,
you niggas in. You
true
know what I'm
that.
saying? Like, that's
Yeah.
another thing. Actually, shout out Jew Almighty. He actually said this, and I do want to put this into practice for myself. We got to stop calling people who ain't niggas niggas. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, they're not niggas. Aiden Ross, he ain't a nigga. He's a white guy. You know what I'm saying? That's
Hmm.
you know what I mean, and he's a part of another group as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we already mentioned that part. He's Jewish as well. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
like. You know what I mean? So, but apparently he's an anti-Semitic Jew, which is the craziest thing in the world.
What is
That's the
why?
wild thing about being a
That's
right winger because you
that's the
can't be on
thing.
like that's what like Myron. You know what I'm saying? You're African, bro. You're from Sudan, but
Yeah.
you hate black people.
He's the biggest
It
loser.
fucking makes sense. That's why I'm like,
He's the
no,
one.
either you have so much self-hate your judgment is so clouded, you know what I mean, like you hate yourself and your community so much that like you can't even realize like how what you're doing, or like you have no morals, you have no ethics, you have no character, where you don't even care that you're setting up people that should be a part of your community, that you should be a part of their community. Like you're setting up your own people, you're making them get like attacked with, whether verbally, physically. I mean, it's not okay in any form. You know what I'm saying? But it's just crazy that like you're all right with that. You're okay with pushing these horrible messages and ideologies against your own people, your own community. Yeah, that's insane for just some clicks and views, and the fact that it doesn't seem like not a lot of people are calling them out for it either. Like I'm shocked
Because
because it's like
you got to think
if
you're on the
you're
same team. Like
but, it, but
a guy like Aiden Ross, you're on the same team as Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, that's weird
Like
as
y'all are
hell.
on the
that's
same team.
crazy.
How does that feel?
Yeah, like for real. I just don't understand. I truly don't. But
Like
maybe
even
it's
black
not
people
for
who are
us to understand.
homophobic, they don't want to take away gay people's rights. They're just like, keep that gay shit away from me, dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's about as far as it goes. Like, they're not out hunting gay people down, trying to beat them up and kill them. Like, they mostly leave them alone. They just think it's weird. That's basically
Yeah,
the extent of
that's
it.
it.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas your side wants to kill you and they want to send you back to Israel and all of this shit. Like, so just,
It's crazy.
if that's the
It's
company you want
crazy.
to keep, bro, you stay over there because we not fucking with you no more. Shout out Glasses Malone. Shout out Problem. Shout out Antonio Talk. Shout out Jew Almighty. Shout out Young Don. You know what I mean? Shout out to all the young black content creators who are out here who are pressing the line and holding the line when it comes to, supporting our black women, supporting our black people in general, and, correcting the narratives out here.
Shout out to T-Real, Back on Fig, Community, all of them. Same thing.
Oh
That's
yeah.
right.
Oh yeah. Well, all right, guys. I think we did it for this week. I think we dived into quite a good amount of topics, got a lot of things for the viewers to think about. And you guys should definitely comment. We want to hear what you guys have to say, what your verdict is on all of those topics. Now, you should also hit that subscribe button because you want to be here next time when we have a new episode for you. And we have one every single week. So make sure you're here every Monday for a new episode. And let us know if there's anything that we missed this week, okay? But we'll see you guys on the next one. This is Bar Exam. We'll see you later. Peace out, guys.
Peace.
Peace.